Good morning, everybody. Thank you for the recording, Kaiso. Good morning, colleagues. I'm so happy to see you all here. As you know, today we are having our AGM for LiSLIG. I would like to recognize the president, Mr. Nazim Hari, who's also here with us to see what's going to happen in our AGM. I welcome you all, and I hope it's going to be a constructive AGM, and then we'll take this LiSLIG forward. Thank you so much. Before I can start with the agenda, I want to talk about the quorum. Oh, sorry. Hello, Kaiso. Yes, I want you to know that our quorum, we have 180 people, LiSLIG members, and then we are supposed to have 18 people so that our AGM can go ahead. But I can see that we are already having only 16 people, so it's okay, we can continue, but I don't think we'll be able to make any voting or take a decision if we don't meet that quorum. Thank you so much, colleagues. I think I've already done the opening and then the quorum thing, and I welcome you all. So can we agree and confirm on the agenda? Do you all have agenda?
Maritzi, my apologies. Hello. Can I just come in quickly?
Okay, Mr. President.
Okay, so I just wanted to ask if anybody has any proxy forms for any LiSLIG member, because proxy forms also count towards a quorum. So if anybody can maybe just raise that, then we might actually reach the 18 before you commence. But you are correct. Strictly speaking, according to the Constitution, we're supposed to wait half an hour and another half an hour after that, and then we can decide. Anna Marie and I did have a discussion about it now the other day, and it is something that we've got to fix constitutionally, I think, because our Constitution is written for an in-person meeting. And if we go according to history, these AGMs always happened at conference, so it was always in person. So everything is written for an in-person kind of meeting. And I don't think we've adapted the Constitution to cater for online meetings. So it's something that we've actually got to look at. It's something that we've got to change in the Constitution. Unfortunately, we're not there right now. So I think you're correct when you say we can continue. And the only difference is that if we're not a quorum, then obviously we can't make certain decisions if it comes to a vote or whatever. But if people can maybe just indicate whether they have any proxies, and then we can, if there are, we can count that up and see if we can actually make the 18. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. President, for all the clarity. We really appreciate that. So, colleagues, do you have any proxy? Can anybody show by maybe raising a hand? Because they said the apology doesn't make anything. So if we have a proxy, then the proxy will be able to help us with this. I think the silence means we don't have proxies. We can continue. On the screen, as I said, I've already done the opening, and then the determination of quorum is already been done, also the welcoming. And then here's the agenda. Do we agree, confirm the agenda as it is? Colleagues, do you? Thank you so much. Thank you. Any seconder for that?
5 seconds, it's Arno.
Okay, thank you, Arna. Okay, and then colleagues, do you have any apologies?
Hello, hi there.
Hello, Teresa.
Hi. I saw Nora. She couldn't attend. She's got another appointment, so there's an apology.
Okay, thank you. Nora's apology noted. Anyone, colleagues? Okay, any police personnel here, any person who have graduated, married, having a baby? Do we have a doctor in our LiSLIG interest group, or someone who have done a master's degree and graduated, or something which has happened? But let me just say that I want to thank that this year our Heavenly Father have already granted life so that we can be able to be here to see each other, and then we haven't experienced any loss in our family and Elias families. Thank you so much for that, colleagues. Any other thing on personalia? I hope silence means there is nothing also. Let's move to our minutes of 2021, September 2021. So, colleagues, I hope we have read the minutes before today, because we had Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So we can start with the correction. Let me start by saying that I thought I corrected mine because my surname is Siageng, not Sigeng. And I saw myself correcting that, but I don't know why it's still saying Siageng there.
Yeah. It's Matilda here from the Free State. At 7.1, there's an H in my surname that needs to be removed.
7.1, Matilda. Oh, Matilda. Okay, not Matilda, but Matilda.
No,
okay.
no, Matilda is spelled correctly, but my surname is without an H. It's only Smith,
Okay.
not Smith.
Okay, thank you so much for the correction, Matilda. Noted.
And then there's just an error there. There are 2 sevens.
2 sevens.
7 matters arising, and then 7 chairpersons.
Yeah. Yes. I think, let's see. Guys, can you move? Let's see what's on top of the other first 7. Okay. Maybe it can be the 6, 7, and 8. Chairperson report can be the number 8, guys. So, and then just correct the others as it goes. 8.1. Yeah. And then let's. Okay.
It's Matilda here from the Free State again. 8 general, the second paragraph, Ms. Anne-Marie Goosen asked that no extra accounts, I think should be created or something, because it says no extra accounts to channel information to archive documents. But I think the word no extra accounts should be created, should be added to that sentence.
Okay, thank you so much, Matilda. I don't know, honestly speaking, this minutes was corrected. I don't know who have done this, because we submitted the minutes which was signed, both myself and Rosani. I corrected this sentence of Mrs. Anne-Marie who sent us that we cannot do extra accounts because all the accounts now is going to be at the LIASA account. We don't have to renew any, to create any accounts for the LiSLIG interest group. We need to have one account which is from the national chair. So I don't know what's happening here. I think this, if I might say this, because Ruzani firstly sent these minutes, and then I did the correction one, which I signed them, and I send it to Ruzani so that Ruzani can also sign, and Ruzani must forward to Anamari, of which she did. So I don't know what happened here. I don't know, honestly speaking, but thank you so much, Matilda, for seeing this and correcting it. We can continue.
Sorry, can I interrupt? Hey, it's Erna, also from the Free State.
Yeah.
You know about that you've signed this minutes and the secretary also, but I mean, it's only today that these minutes are going to be adopted. So you couldn't have signed it.
Yes,
approved.
yes. I wanted to show that this is the corrected one, not to finalize here, with the one which I was sending to Anamari.
Okay.
Yes, not to be like a finalized, like a sign, because we need to sign the minute today after it's been approved. I wanted to show Anamari, this is the one, because I was communicating with Anamari, Ruzani, and myself. But it's okay. Thank you for that, Erna. I'm saving myself at the bottom there, married CPC gang against Isiachen. Is she at the end, guys? Colleagues, are you happy with the minutes?
Matilda proposed that we can accept it.
Thank you so much, Matilda. Who is the seconder?
I'll second it. Teresa.
Thank you, Teresa. Do you have any matters arising from that minutes, colleagues? Any matters arising? Okay. Thank you so much for the minutes. It looks like you can now approve the minutes as it is with those minor corrections. Thank you so much, colleagues. I really appreciate that. Okay, let's go to the reports. Colleagues, as we have already noted that I was in abeyance, I didn't have any committees surrounding me to help me with the events or the carrying over LiSLIG as it is, but I managed to get through with the Gauteng North. I was, I made myself very active in the Gauteng North to be a convener for LiSLIG. And then even if we have a conveners, but we didn't have more conveners on our LiSLIG because even the Eastern Cape, we are still not having anybody. And then in Free State, we are having Matilda Smith, who is very active. Matilda has been running the Free State convener LiSLIG very fruitfully with Erna. And then in Gauteng North, we have Major Tinkulu and myself. But Major Mtinkuli didn't, at the end of the day, because she didn't renew her membership, then that's when I took over so that they can be able to at least do something to see that LiSLIG is running. In Gauteng South, convener is Justice Shilo. And then KwaZulu-Natal, we have Musa, but Musa is no longer a convener because he's now a PRO for KwaZulu-Natal branch. Limpopo, we didn't have anybody. Northern Cape, we didn't have anybody. Northwest also, we had Unyakachi Okoli, but Unyakachi is also the PRO for Northwest, is no longer active in this week. And then Western Cape, we have Miss Rulani Sebotsa. And then I can say that I didn't even have meetings myself, because I was thinking, how will I do a meeting alone? And then I decided to join, as I've already said, I decided to join Gauteng North, and then I will go plug in their meeting, because most of their meeting were done visually, and then I'll participate there, and then they'll be giving me tasks to do, to have them, more especially with the activities. I ran through the activities with them for the library week, where we coordinated together. I got them 2 speakers there. The one from Investor Pretoria, who was Isaac van der Merwe. And then I also had someone who is from a private company, who was also a guest speaker. And then even during the youth month, I also participated with them on that. And then I suggested that they must have our president-elect, I forgot the name now because I'm talking too much. Charlie, I asked them to have Charlie Molepo to be their speaker for the youth month. And then, yes, Matilda and Erna, they did plenty of work there at First Aid, because they have shared with me. They have shared with me their report, and then on their report, let me go to their report, because they.
Well, they also give breakaway sessions aside.
So colleagues, let me try to get Matilda's report, because I think with her, I can say that we did something. Yes, Matilda, I think she got a great members under her, because Matilda in Free State, she's a chair-elect. She's a chairperson, and then she got a chair-elect, which is Elma van der Merwe, and then the secretary is Erna Mostek. And then Matilda, their membership is, they have 10 paid membership. By the June 30, on the 30th of June, they were already having 10 paid up membership. And then under advocacy, they held meetings via Zoom, and then we attended. In myself, I will attend, because I thought, what must I do? Let me just join the people who are active. Then I started following the Free State, and then if they have the workshop, I will. If I have time, I will attend. And then if they have meeting also, I will attend. And then Matilda mentioned that on the marketing and communication, they are using emails to communicate with members of LiSLIG, and also the meeting will appear on the LiSLIG Liasa calendar. And then on good governance, financial records are up to date. And then they also had the training on the 17th of February 2022 on how to do POPI Act affect your work, how does the POPI Act affect your work as a librarian. On the 28th April, they have gamification tool to improve your library. 21 July 2022, find your way around LiSLIG website, how to get CPD points, create reports, and submit on the website to contribute to professional development and training of your future. And all of these, apart from the POPI one, I attended them. I attended the one for 28, and I attended the one for the 21 of July. And then she also mentioned on about their finances. And then he said by the September 2021, they have 511 Rand. And then they bought a gift for 91 Rand on the 17th of the second month, 2022. And then August 2022, the remaining money was 420. And then they have no income due to online meetings. And then challenges. LiSLIG is a very small interest group with only few members participating. The fact that we are still using Zoom for our meetings allow people from other interest groups to attend LiSLIG's meetings, of which it's us, some of us, we are allowed to be there because it was a visual meetings. And then their planned activities were on the 17th of February, they did the POPI one, and the 28th of April, they did gamification, and then 21 of July 2022, they did that one of the LiSLIG training. And then, yes, that is what is Matilda have reported to me regarding what Free State have done through the year of starting from September 2021 to August 2022. Colleagues, I can add on that saying that, yes, it's a very challenging situation because, you know, working alone is not so easy because you don't know what to do, where to do, how to start things. And then, as we have said, we are under the president's. I didn't even know because I didn't even have any meeting with the president or with LiSLIG office to tell me, Marisipi, because since we have adopted you, you are under us now. This is what we are supposed to do, or this was what you are not supposed to do. So it was a difficult, actually it's a difficult situation for me. And then I said, I'm not going to be redundant, like just leaving this, because I like LiSLIG so much and I can't just leave anything like sitting down, doing something. That is why I'll participate going there and there. And then another important thing is I wanted to make some trainings, but the first training which made me not to make me to sit down, it was when I communicated with Denise Dickinson. I asked Denise so that he can come and plow over so that we can do some training on the copyright for LiSLIG members. Denise told me that, you know, Marisipi, I am now working, I'm no longer working, I'm on pension and I have a business now. So I'm still waiting for LiSLIG because LiSLIG told me that they will be having money and then for that I can be able to do this training. So I can't offer that training for free. Then I was demoralized and then I just, okay, Denise, I was thinking that you are going to help me because you know that I don't even have, as a LiSLIG chairperson, I don't have money or an account to say this, yes, I have 500 Rand, let's negotiate, I can pay you 200 Rand. So thank you so much for replying to me like that. And then I just left, I didn't do anything, colleagues. And yes, I can blame myself. I don't want to blame anybody. I can blame myself, but I didn't have manpower. Thank you so much, colleagues. This is the report. I can give it to you for now. Thank you so much. There's also, they said we need to have a treasurer's financial report. The treasurer's financial report, I don't think we have anything because we didn't have an account, and then we have balance of 0, and we don't even owe anybody anything. So we are still safe under this our finances, our financial expenditures. Thank you so much, colleagues. Then, colleagues, as I have already said that we have our president here, Mr. Nazim, will be able to address us so that maybe he can talk more about our interest group in abeyance, and then we can understand it more thoroughly. Mr. President, the floor is yours now. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Madam CP. Good morning, everybody. If I haven't greeted you before. So I'm going to talk about some of the things that Madam CP has spoken about, but I'm also going to talk in general about groups in abeyance. It's been, I think it's been a difficult year for everybody. I don't think we've ever had a situation where we've really had groups in abeyance. And so to a large extent, it's still feeling our way through something like this. Having said that, I do think that there needs to be obviously greater support from the LiSLIG National Office, but with everything else going on, it's not always that easy. From a restructuring point of view, we obviously have been grappling with this issue and trying to get to a point where we can actually move forward. And LiSLIG itself is a central part to what we envisage restructuring taking place going into the future. So from a broader perspective around restructuring, it is still our intention to not have branches. I know it continues to be an issue that is divisive in LiSLIG, but that is what it was accepted by the AGM, and that is what we are going forward with. If we look at the activities of the last year, I want to say that from where I'm sitting, the major activities happens at a sectoral level. If I look at branches, probably the most successful branch is the Free State. Just if I look at it from an activity point of view. But to be quite honest, when I look at what happens in the Free State, it's very much driven by the higher education sector. So even within a branch setting, we can see that it's very sectorally driven. If we look at the activities of HELIG, IGBIS, if I really look at the more successful ones, then again, it's very much sectorally driven. And I think that speaks to what we have envisaged with restructuring. So from a broader perspective, restructuring is still attempting to go ahead with the idea that there will be no branches, that there will be sectors, of which one of them is special libraries, the others being public libraries, higher education libraries, school libraries, and then also obviously an arm for research and education. So it is obviously then in our vested interest to see that LiSLIG succeeds. And yes, from everything that the chair has said thus far, we have not necessarily done anything constructive around that. However, listening to what Maritsipi has been saying, and I've been making notes as we've been going along, clearly there is some support, even though it is a small interest group. There clearly seems to be interest from people across the branches as it stands at the moment. bar the fact that there might be people who are not currently active or not members, etc. So if I listen to the fact that you are active in Gauteng South, clearly in the Free State, there is much activity going on, etc., then there is an interest. My challenge to all of you, and especially to you, Madit CP, as the chair, is to look at what is happening regionally, and which of those things can you actually take up to a national level? Because remember, you're a national interest group. What you actually apply must be able to be applied across the board. So it doesn't matter if something is taking place in Gauteng South. If, as the interest group at a national level, as the chair, you feel this is something that can actually be applied across the board. As the chair, you don't need to wait for anybody to say, you know what, I am actually going to make this a workshop that is applicable to all LiSLIG members. I think if I listen to your report, I think it's too much tied to regional activities. I want to say that if there is nothing happening at a national level, and we've run into this issue sometime in this last year as well, you can't have things happening on a regional level only and not happening at a national level. So you need to also then look at what is happening regionally and look at what can you take from that and actually take it to the national level, then apply it to everybody. And I think within the environment in which we operate now, which is online, it is easy to convene something that is open to everybody. So yes, you're alone in terms of the national committee as the chair. And yes, I will acknowledge that myself and EXCO needs to give you more support, but that doesn't stop you from taking the initiative and saying, this is what I am going to do, and this is what I need support with. So I want to challenge you and say that's what I really want to see in this year going forward, and beyond that as well. Again, it is in our vested interest to see LiSLIG succeed. It is therefore imperative that we give you greater support in the year to come. And my apologies for any lack of support that we have not given you in the last year. On your issue around Denise, yes, it is correct that Denise is waiting for us, but you know, at the kind of fees that we are having to charge members for something, we've also got to look at financially whether it is something that is sustainable to us. So it's easy to say, you know, Liasa hasn't done the following, and therefore I cannot do this. We are very much aware, and again, we are very grateful for the support that Denise gives to the sector in terms of copyright, etc. But we also very cognizant of the fact that we've got to train the next cohort of people to take up this issue. It can't just rest and be vested in one person. So really, it is an important issue for us, but we also can't just be reckless in terms of putting money into something, and that is just one aspect that we're talking about. So we've also got to weigh up at the end of the day, is this something that you really want to invest that much money into? You all know, having been at the LiSLIG National AGMs, you get slaughtered when you're there, when you present that financial report and people ask you things about why did you do things a certain way. But from a last thing I just want to talk about is funds. So I made note of the fact that in the Free State LiSLIG activity, you were talking about there having been funds, etc. And again, that is something that you've got to look at, because remember, all accounts are meant to be at a national level. If something's being done at a level of LiSLIG function, then you've got to look at how does that funds get absorbed into the LiSLIG account. But this is again something that I think we can continue talking about. My very last thing to you is, yes, you're alone as the chair. But what I take heart from, and I think what you should maybe explore, is if you have all of these conveners, and again, there's not one necessarily in every branch, but if you have all of these conveners, as the chair, I would say bring those conveners on board to do things at a national level. If you can bring these conveners on board with you, present a plan and say, these are the kind of activities we want to see going forward in the next year. And again, I think the idea is not to have something every single month. We have our day jobs. LIASA is an activity over and above all of that. And we've got to be realistic of the expectations of people. But I would say tap into the conveners, see what you can do going forward, because again, that is part of the restructuring going forward, is that if we are doing away with branches, we're really going to then be reliant on people acting as conveners, for example, within the region. And I think when we think of regions, we shouldn't think about it in terms of the branches or the provinces, the way we've always thought about, but geographically what actually makes sense. I think what has been our downfall in terms of branches in the last 25 years, and we all say it, even in a province as small as the Free State, the distances are huge. So if we look at distance being an impediment to us delivering on what we are supposed to do, then we should be looking at regions very differently. And we should be looking at regions from a geographical point of view and what actually makes sense. So it doesn't actually matter where a grouping of libraries sits within a province, but it's about what is regionally closer to that particular group. So you might have, for example, a group of libraries somewhere in the Free State, but there's another group of libraries that's actually very close to them, but they're in an entirely different province. So I think we've got to get out of our heads the idea that we are limited in terms of our provinces, and we've got to look at regions much more broadly. And therefore, my encouragement to you, Madid CP, is to tap into your conveners that you do have. Look at what are the activities that you can actually present across the board to all LiSLIG members, so that you are serving all LiSLIG members. If I listen to your report, then you know there's nothing happening in Eastern Cape because there isn't a convener. But that doesn't stop you as national chair tapping into people and saying, what can we actually do to deliver something that is of interest to members in the Eastern Cape? If I take just your one example of the POP-HERE Act for special librarians, or even something like copyright for special librarians, that I think is something that would be of interest to every single member in LiSLIG, not just at a regional level. I hope that gives you some encouragement of what we're going to do moving forward. The idea is also that within the next year, we're going to test really how the restructuring would actually work in practice. Yes, we should have been further along with this, but it just isn't a reality. So moving forward into the next year, we do want to test the idea that if we plan things at a national level and then roll it out, identifying people as conveners to actually get people together to register for an event, can this actually work as a model for us moving forward in terms of the structure that we also should be? I think we can all agree, and again, I want to say, kudos to the Free State branch, because I think they work really hard as a branch. And out of all the branches, no disrespect to any other branches, but the Free State is far and away the best branch. I don't think we can get away from that. And it takes a lot of hard work for them to actually deliver on that. But we need to see as an association that this is something that happens across the board. But I think we've also got to be realistic and admit what we've been saying for the last couple of years which has led to restructuring, and that is that branches don't work. I think it is true. And I don't think that any of us can say that that is not a true statement. The branches are dysfunctional at the moment. The interest groups actually work better, again, really being driven sectorally. And I think that is what we've got to tap into. So within the next year is to look at that national model of creating events at a national level, rolling it down across regions, finding people that are like-minded who can act as conveners. Currently, it is the branch chairs, but that has been a moving landscape over the last year with changes in positions. Just as we're speaking, within the last while, we already have another branch that has moved into abeyance, technically speaking. And that just, again, for me, shows that we've got to act on what we want this restructuring to be. That's quite a lot that I've said. If there are any questions that anybody has, not just the chair, I am here to answer them. I might not necessarily have all the answers, but I am really open to your thoughts on what I've actually just said. Thank you very much.
Yes, Tate Mulala. Mr. Mulala.
Thank you, Asmadisi. And thanks that the president is here. I have few comments, but first let me introduce myself. I'm Makwena Mulala. I'm responsible for knowledge management and library at the NSG. Madisi Pisare works with me. And I feel I feel so ashamed of the report that has been presented because we didn't provide necessary support. But I have few. One is a question, and I have comments. Then I have inputs. I'll just make them short. One is when you talk about restructuring, President, take us into confidence. What is restructuring? What are you doing in this restructuring? Because the work of the special committees is to resuscitate LIASA in various aspects. And one of the things that has been failing over the years is to resuscitate special libraries, which to me is an easy thing to do if you consider that your successor, the former president, had what we call a meeting with the directors. And when he did meeting with the directors, specifically in the national departments, he was addressing that issue of making sure that the librarians are supported, because there is an element in national departments of cutting the budget. They start with the libraries. They don't even support the librarians. You get few people supporting the librarians. We can address that one. Just take us to confidence. Now the comment is, I need to also put myself in the block, because I've been in LIASA for a while now, but because of COVID, I don't know where we lose the shape. I used to assist as CP in some things. The comment is, you are correct to say there are things that we can do nationally. For an example, I will want to say to you, the National School of Government and DPSA, they are driving a document called professionalization. It's a framework. It's going to be tabled at cabinet soonest. In that professionalization document, you get to notice that professional bodies like LIASA are not counted as professional bodies because they are not known. But further than that, we will raise the head once that memo has been signed by cabinet to say we have professional bodies in our own field, which is library. The second one is the the National School of Government had what we call last year, we signed a document with the World Economic Forum where we give freely the database of Economic Forum. I'm pushing international relations in my department to work with libraries. And I believe we can then partner with LiSLIG, because it is within the departments that we are going to target all the librarians to give them this simple, straightforward database that can be used by researchers. We'll do that. And I believe we must then target that nationally. So there are small pockets that we are sitting with in our departments that we must be able to assist the convener of LiSLIG. And some of us will commit now to assist that process. Just, I don't know what happened in the past 2 years. So the LIASA in itself must make sure in its restructuring process that the special bodies are taken care of. We really don't need a budget to run the special libraries, but their work is to do most awareness, and they must excel in awareness, specifically in these times where we can simply use Zoom as we are using Zoom today, so that we can make so much awareness that the library field doesn't become overtaken by the knowledge management field, because the knowledge management field, they are pushing their own agenda. I can tell you now, I had a conference, a departmental conference, which was successful with one CAM SA. I will want to do the same with LiSLIG. I'll want to do the same with LIASA. I will want to department to think LIASA first. But LIASA has been there and is dragging the legs. LIASA for me is only known to be an academic vehicle. And in the special libraries, if that's the case, we are killing the foundation of the library. We are killing that fundamental principle of having a library in the departments. And most of the departments that I've worked in and I've left, their libraries are dying because there's no passion in those things. It is led by this issue of not being known, LIASA not being known, and we must pull that back. We must take that accountability ourselves, not you, President, but ourselves as LIASA members in these institutions. But we'll want you as the President to drive that vehicle, and we'll support you. That's my question and that's my comment. Thank you.
Maritsipi, if I may,
Mr.
through you as the chair.
Mr. President, you want to answer, or must we take Matilda?
No. Can I answer that, if I may, through you as chair?
Okay, thank you, President.
Okay, so I want to say thank you very much for your comment, Mokoena. And yes, I agree with you. We should take back the narrative. I've made notes of what you have said, and just on your very first thing that you talked about, taking people into confidence around restructuring. In last year, earlier this year, I had written a document to the broader membership talking about restructuring and trying to plot a way forward as to where we go next. I know I haven't really reported back to membership since then, which was meant to have been the plan. And not that I'm making excuses, but yeah, unfortunately, personal circumstances also got into the way. But when I invited people to actually make comments around restructuring, there weren't many comments really that spoke to the mechanics of restructuring and how people saw it. Most of the comments that people gave around the issue of restructuring was, yes, we need restructuring, and I am in support of restructuring. There were a few handful of comments that really spoke to, I think, some of the issues around restructuring. But I take from that as well that many people, or the ones who had commented, were generally in support of restructuring. So just again, if I have to rehash it, this is an issue that's been coming on since 2016, which is when it was actually first raised at an AGM. In 2018, it got general approval at the AGM for us to go ahead with restructuring. And that's kind of where we've been in limbo since then. Like you noted as well, COVID has not been a great help in that regard as well. And to maybe not make us feel depressed about it, when I was at IFLA earlier this year, many library associations are actually going through restructuring. And while I think we all want to get to a point where we want to see it done and dusted and move forward, I think everybody's hampered by, I think, very much the same kind of things, maybe slightly different nuances, as we are. The ALA has been trying to restructure for the last 6 years as well. And many other library associations. So I think we all kind of recognize the fact that we need to restructure to bring our associations into line with where we find ourselves today. But many of us also grapple with, I think, the sheer length and breadth of our association in terms of the area that it covers and the amount of people that we've actually got to talk to. Too often, I think, we get hampered down by over consulting. And I'm not saying that I will not consult people. Please don't get me wrong. But somewhere we've also got to make very critical decisions and say, you know, we have consulted and this is how we intend moving forward. And so therefore, my comments to all of you this morning is about, this is where we find ourselves now, and this is what we need to see happening going forward. And so in line with that, I appreciate your comments about being supportive of a structure like LiSLIG. I say again, LiSLIG is critical to the restructuring process because it is one of the sectors that we feel is one of the drivers of the restructuring of the LSA. So we cannot see LiSLIG fail. We need to see LiSLIG succeed. And therefore, we need people to come on board to actually make a success of it. So I want to commend you for coming forward, for making yourself available to help the chair in driving certain things forward. And again, I think part of what needs to happen, the chair alluded to as well, is about making it visible. And we need to make it known to people that there is LIASA, there is LiSLIG, this is what we're doing. And I think the proof in the pudding is always going to be, there needs to be activities that drives this marketing. We can't sit back and expect people to recognize us if we don't offer people something in return. Much as we hate the phrase, I think it is also true that people have an expectation from us and that we should give people something. So I'm looking forward to what is going to happen. Again, I'm always open. I might not always be available, but please liaise with the chair, liaise with me. Let's see what we can actually do in the next while in raising the profile of LiSLIG, in turn raising the profile of the LSA, and bringing home to the powers that be that there is a professional body that speaks for library and information workers, and we should be taken seriously. Thank you. Maritsipho, we can go to Matilda, if through you, if I may.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, President. Mr. Malala, I hope the President have answered to your question. And now we can take Matilda.
Thank you, Madam Chair, Mr. President. Thank you for giving us a bit of clarity of what the way forward will be, because this whole restructuring or the talk about restructuring is quite frustrating, because we hear a lot of talk and then we hear branches will exist and interest groups won't exist. No interest groups will exist or sectorial sections will exist. It really has a negative effect on people serving on the BEC of these interest groups, because we keep on asking ourselves the question, why do we still do what we do in this interest group? So hereby I would only like to urge everyone who's attending the AGM, the national AGM, and then the committees and everyone, please, can we move with this restructuring, that we can put away or put aside the uncertainty that we have, that we know what the way forward will be. Do we still need the interest groups, or are they just in the way or whatever? but I really would like that we can move forward. I know you have mentioned other institutions or organizations who are also busy with restructuring and that it has taken a long time, but I think 6 years have been long enough. It's time that we move forward and give people certainty as to what is the next step, what is expected from them, where do they fit in. Thank you.
Chair, if I may,
Thank
through
you.
you.
Thank you. Yes, President, we can do that.
Thank you, Matilda, for your comments. And yes, I agree with you. Certainly, I make the point every time I write my column for the LiSLIG in Touch and elsewhere, that restructuring remains a top priority for my term of office. If by the end of my term in 2023, if I have not delivered some greater surety around restructuring for all of you as members, then I will label my own self as a failure. So certainly that is what drives me in terms of this term. In terms of providing clarity, like I said, I was supposed to have reported back to members, but yeah, unfortunately, personal circumstances has had a bit of a knock. But I want to get back to, for example, having a regular bulletin where I do speak to members about what is happening, of availing myself to be there to actually talk to people about what we are going to do, what is expected of people. And I agree with you, if we don't provide certainty to people, then people will start questioning, why am I actually doing this? Thank you for the encouragement. I take great heart from the fact that you, well, I hope I'm not reading too much in your message, but I take great heart from the fact that you basically saying, let's go for this. Let's actually put something there and let's actually move forward. And that's certainly what I am working towards. The idea is that at this AGM coming up at the LiSLIG conference, and I hope that you're going to all attend, whether it be virtually or in person, or at least attend the AGM, which is open to every single member, whether it's going to be virtually or in person, to also lend support and make your voice known, because it is my intention to put in front of members where we are going next. And I sincerely hope that I'll get the support for what we envisage the structure to be going forward, and that from here on out, we'll actively start working to making it a reality. Thank you.
Thank you, colleagues. Is there any question for the president? Any comments? Okay, Mr. President, in absence of the questions from other colleagues, I want to also say something. Thank you so much for all the ideas we have mentioned that I have to carry on starting from the new financial year of LiSLIG. I just want to say that for me, what you have said, it makes sense to me, and it should have made sense, and I should have moved forward if I started questioning this thing of why LiSLIG is having their plan on the event on the calendar. If someone have just answered me, I should have worked closely with them so that we can do the plan together. And I'm also blaming myself because I should have presented my plan to them as all my conveners, but I didn't do that. But earlier this year, I questioned. I said, I'm seeing this because Kahiso is always asking me to give the events for LiSLIG, the planned events for LiSLIG. But there is LiSLIG events on the calendar. How will I do this? Because I don't know. And then Matilda, as the convener and the chairperson of Free State, I wanted to find out how do we work together? Who is Matilda a convener or am I a chairperson? And then I communicated with Matilda also. I said, Matilda, please explain, because I wanted to work closely with them because I can see that they were doing things very well and then they are very vibrant in this LiSLIG. So then Matilda told me that she's going to communicate with Erna and then they will come back to me. And then Anna-Marie told me that she's going to communicate with you, they will come back to me. But nobody came to me. That is why I was like, I'm confused. I was confused, but today, what we have presented here, thank you so much, because I know that now I must hold Free State and the Eastern Cape and whoever a convener who's active, I must bring them together. We work on the same table and then we discuss and we do our things together. We put our plan together. And then, yes, that's the way forward. Thank you so much for mentioning that. And then my colleagues at Free State, Erna, Matilda, thank you so much. I still appreciate that because you shared with me. You didn't say, no, Marisipi, you are not going to do whatever. You just shared with me what happened at the Free State. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. President.
It's a pleasure, Marisipi.
Hello. Hi, it's Teresa. I can't find where I can put my hand up here. Can I speak?
Okay, Teresa, you are welcome.
Thank you. Sorry about that. Now, I just wanted to say that, yes, I've been listening to what the president has said and what you have been saying as the chair of LiSLIG. And I think, yes, it is much clearer now as to maybe what we should be doing. But I just wanted to tell Marisipi that although you are going to be working with the conveners and hopefully drawing up a nice plan for us as to what we're going to do in the next year, I think maybe you should also know that there are others out there that would be willing to support you, me for one. So maybe you should send a wider notice out to anyone who would like to be part of your planning when you do that.
Thank you, Teresa. Thank you so much. We'll do that. Any others point, Mr. President, or are you okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, fine.
No problem.
Thank you. Thank you so much. We are also fine. And then I think there is general, ne? Under general.
Hi, Marisipi. Before you proceed, I've raised my hand, but I'm not recognized.
Oh, I didn't see it. I didn't see it. Sorry,
No problem. Good
come
morning. Okay, good morning, colleagues. On the group, I've just dropped something of which our president concurred with me that, you know, in Elias, as long as one spirit working towards winning, we are going nowhere. I would like to concur with, is it in Tate Moshala? You know, as you were speaking, is it Moshala or Makwena? Mulala,
Yes.
Makwena, Mulala, yes. As he was speaking, I was still driving, so my network was just on and off, but I could hear that he was saying something like, we do have a knowledge management professional body, which is like, is still a baby, but is very active. I mean, we've been in Liasa, I don't know since when, but like, I know it's not a good thing to compare, but personally, I will compare because I see wonders in the KM professional body. I belong to that body, but you know, wonderful things are happening in that professional body. So I think for as long as we work together as a team, like as we're saying, maybe we can just benchmark with Free State. I know another province that I once belonged to, of which was KZ, and was very active when it comes to interest group. I don't know if maybe they've dropped the momentum or what, but I think it would be very good for us from other provinces to benchmark with those provinces that are making wonders. And through that, I strongly believe we'll move on. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Abitumelo, for your comment. So it's taken and it's true. Yes, KZN was also vibrant, but it's a pity that The guy who was the convener there, he's no longer a convener. He's now in the branch committee. That is why it's so quiet. But as the president have already said, we don't have to say Eastern Cape doesn't have a convener. Myself as national, with my conveners who are very active, and other colleagues, LiSLIG members who have the knowledge, LiSLIG members who have the knowledge, I'm still saying it. If you know that you are good in whatever, please come. Let's make a workshop together so that we can share the knowledge and skills with other LiSLIG members. Thank you so much, Ebutimelo. That is going to be attended. We are going to move forward. LiSLIG is ours. Thank you. Is there, colleagues, because we've been talking under the president, I think all that things under general, we don't think we have anything under general because we've been, saying our point on what we want to see LiSLIG going. And this meeting was supposed to end at 11 o'clock, but now it's 10 past 10. So I don't know if we have any other burning issues. This is the time for us to talk with the president. The president is here. It's not easy to get hold of the president. If you don't use this time, you're not going to get another time to be able to talk to the president. Let's use our time, talk about how can we as LiSLIG, because LiSLIG is not for MadiTP. LiSLIG is for all of us. I want some ideas. I want you to criticize. I want us to tell us the criticisms are also good sometimes. Please, colleagues, let's not say it's MadiTP. I'm not gonna say something. Tell me that MadiTP, yes, we were wrong. Now we need us to go forward. Let's do 1, 2, 3. Thank you so much, colleagues. Let's talk. Let's talk. It's our time today. Are we happy? It looks like we are happy, the president. Okay, Teresa, you can now talk because you have raised your hand.
Hi, thank you. Yes, thanks. I'm just wanting to ask a question. I see that we are now a quorum, so I wanted to ask, isn't it a good time to make a good decision about the way forward for us while we have a quorum if we need to?
Yes, I was talking on that point also because, you know, Teresa, we have a quorum, we are 18, Kaiso has mentioned that. And then even the minutes also, are we going to approve the minute as it is? Because now we form a quorum, we can take a decision. I think we can. As a chairperson, not the chairperson of this interest group, I'm saying we form a quorum and now we can take a decision. Even the minutes will be approved. Am I correct, the president?
You are correct, yes.
Thank you. Okay, then colleagues, it looks like we are here. We don't have anything to say. Then I have to release you so that we can prepare. Oh, Teresa?
Sorry, it's me again. I'm just wanting to take advantage of the quorum. So
Yeah.
I wanted to maybe suggest that we perhaps, if we can get to some decision that there will be a planning session for this interest group to plan our next year ahead with events and activities. I'd like to suggest that we all agree on something like that.
Yes, we do agree on that, Teresa. That is because we can't work on, LiSLIG can't work without a plan. We need to have a plan. And the plan is going to be shared with everybody, all the members, after us as a committee, myself and my conveners. After we have finalized that, we send it to you for your input. And then if we agree on that, we share it on the LiSA event. This is the LiSLIG plan, and then we are going to take it forward that way. I think, let me take Erna. Maybe Erna will explain it more, better than me. Hi, Erna.
Hi, thank you for giving me a chance. I just want to kind of clarify something. Over all the years of the LiSLIG's existence, there, as far as I can remember, there was never a national, how can I put it, national events planned for LiSLIG National. It was only once a year at conference. Then there was an event for LiSLIG National. The rest of the times during the years, it was only for the different branches. So are we moving now away from that? So that we now as national LiSLIG must plan for events and the branches must plan for events?
And you know, let me ask that before I ask the president to do that. I try to answer that. You know what was happening all those years? Remember, the conveners were always there. We will work with the branches, and then after working with the branches, we be communicating with the chairperson. This is what Maritsipi in Gauteng North have been doing through Gauteng North branch. That's what that is what was supposed to be happening. But I think even with you, you know that when you were a former chair, you used to work with the Free State branch as a convener there. And then at our conferences, when we have an AGM at a conference, you'll be telling us that what you have been done, what you've been doing, and then we'll be accepting what you are telling us. But for now, as the president is saying, the president is saying that let's, because with me, I'm working in abeyance. And then working in abeyance, I need to have conveners. And the conveners, I have to work with them and see what we can do going forward. I don't think we are killing, we are trying to kill the relationship again the branch have with the conveners. No, we can't do that. Mr. President?
Thanks, Maritsipi, and Erna as well. So I'm not saying we shouldn't be doing things at a branch level, but I feel that if we are to make LiSLIG stronger, I do think that there needs to be a focus on doing things, more things on a much broader scale, on a much more national level scale. And if there are things that I think, like she's done in a report this morning, if there are things that are done at a branch level, but could be of interest to the broader LiSLIG community, I think that's what LiSLIG National should drive. But again, I'm not saying, you know, nothing should happen at a branch level. There are certainly, I think, interests at that level on these type of activities, and we shouldn't take that away. But we should be strengthening the national arm of the interest group. I think in the past, what we've also seen a lot of the time is that very often a branch would be much stronger than the actual national. And I think certainly we're sitting in that kind of environment right now, where, again, if you take the Free State branch from a LiSLIG perspective, you're very strong, but at a national level, you only have a chair. And somehow that needs to be turned around. So I'm hoping that some of that will actually filter through. And that when we go forward, it really is about, and I think we've also got to take it in context of how do we envisage restructuring happening. So again, if LiSLIG is one of the main sectors, it needs to be strong at a national level and driven at a convener level. And again, like I've alluded earlier, when we look at a region, it is not necessarily bound by a province, but it is about there where there is a community of librarians, and it can be across provincial borders, etc. So I think we've just got to think really differently and creatively about it, and in the next year, really see how we actually drive that going forward. I hope I've answered the question.
Are you fine, Erna?
It's good, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Matilda?
Madam Chair and Mr. President, I hear you talk about national and that the thing should be derived from national, but I, however, do have a concern. We as Free State LiSLIG have been running our meetings through Zoom. At the beginning of the meeting, the convener or the chairperson said we are 180 LiSLIG members. If you look at the meetings we had through 2022, from my side, I would say I think this is relevant to all provinces. And it was advertised, we advertised it provincially through our email systems, and it was also advertised on the national LiHASA website. So everyone was alluded to the dates. But if you look at our attendance, there were only a few people from other provinces who did attend these meetings via Zoom. So I don't actually know how this whole national thing is going to work, because people at the moment do have the opportunity to tap into other provinces, but it doesn't look like there's a big interest in doing so. So yeah, I'm just a bit disheartened and worried that, okay, it needs to be derived nationally, and our programs were not derived nationally, but it was, everybody was aware of it. And even though it didn't get a lot of attendance from other provinces. So that is just the concern I would like to raise for the way, for the future, for the way forward.
Matilda, that it's a fact. You have said it mouthfully. All these events were on the LiHASA website, but only few LiSLIG members attended. I think, I don't know if because of this COVID thing, colleagues are demoralized, because those events, those workshops we have been doing, they were very interesting. That is why I said the first one of copy, I don't know why I missed it, but I tried to attend for those, the second one and the third one. So I've seen that it was not so many people from outside. It looks like it was meant for people in Free State, of which was wrong. You were sharing it international, nationally, and then colleagues, I think colleagues, you are not reading, or you are not checking LiHASA website or reading your email. Kahiso is always sending to you. Please, colleagues, let's read. Let's read. Don't say, it's LiHASA, and then let me bank it. I'll come back to it later. No, have a look at it. There might be something interesting that you need to be participating. I think I for one, Matilda, I'm talking for them. I think give us another chance. Let's do it, and then let's tell ourselves that this time we are taking LiSLIG forward, and things will be happening. We want things to happen in LiSLIG, and then this is our motto. Let's LiSLIG future be seen. Thank you so much, Matilda. I don't know if Mr. President wants to say something also on that.
Thanks, Maritsipe. So, Matilda, take note of your concern, and I think it is something that we've got to bear in mind. But I just want to throw it back as well to the members who are here today. Yes, I agree with you. If it's on Zoom, it should basically be that people should be attending no matter where they are. But here's, I think, the thing, and I think Maritsipe alluded to it. So if it gets advertised as a Free State branch event, I think that's how people also view it. So even if I can join, it's kind of viewed as it's for the Free State branch. And I want to say, let's turn that on its head and say, it is a LiSLIG event. And even if we advertise it as, and I'm using just an example here, we say, here's LiSLIG event presented in conjunction with the Free State branch. But that puts the context very differently. And I think that's what we've got to strive for, is that when people look at the events, it's not seen as it's purely a Free State branch event. Yes, the Free State can be instrumental in putting something together, but together with the national chair, we're saying this is actually a LiSLIG event that any LiSLIG member, and even beyond the people who've indicated LiSLIG is one of my groups, is actually interested in. And I think we've just got to maybe just try and flip that narrative just a little bit. I'm not saying that, you know, it's entirely going to work, but it's something I think we've got to work towards and see if we can actually make that a reality. So that's what I want to appeal to all of you and to encourage you to do as the broader LiSLIG community, is to work with the chair in presenting things, I think, more from a national perspective, even though it can be driven from a particular branch. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. President. Mr. Malala, you were raising your hand. Do you still want to say something? Dr. Malala?
No, I'm covered by the president. Thank you.
Oh, okay. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, colleagues, I think we have heard, and then the consent is already been taken, and then we are going to work hard to see that everything goes well. I want to take this opportunity to tell you, colleagues, that let's open the Zoom so that Kaiso can take the screenshots of our AGM picture. Let's all be live. Start your video, and then Kaiso will take a screenshot so that we can see who's who in the AGM. Thank you so much before we close the meeting. Thank you. We are driving.
I'm on the road.
Yeah, I can see. And Kaiso or Anna Marie is there. I know Anna Marie is good with this. Anna Marie?
Just give us a moment to fix the settings. Just hang on.
Okay,
Practice
thank
your
you.
smiles in the meantime.
Thank you. Hi, Erna. You're still looking great, huh?
Thank you.
Ooh, Matilda.
Long time we see eye to eye.
Yeah, I can see you. You no, forever young, forever young. Matilda, it's the first time I'm seeing you. I can't hear you.
It's nice seeing you, Matsidipi.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, yes, I can recognize you now. I didn't recognize you because you were far.
Okay, big smiles, everybody.
Okay.
Let's take another one. Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, colleagues.
Thank you. Thank you, colleagues. Colleagues, I would like to take this opportunity to close the meeting at 10:28. Our AGM is now closed, and I wish you well at LIASA conference. Those who are going face-to-face, go and enjoy and network. The meeting is now closed. Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye, Chair.
Thank you. Bye.